Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream, the 24th of October, 2023, and it's currently 7:33 p.m. where I am here on the outskirts of Madrid, and we're going to go through some of the main stories that have caught my attention today in the press, as we usually do. Some comments that have been left on the channel recently also, and also we'll look at the live chat section and see what's happening there in that live chat. So stay tuned for that around the 18, 19, 20-minute mark of today's live stream. The first piece of news, and it appears that Spain is closer to a government because the two big left-wing political parties, Sumar and the PSOE, have reached an agreement. And as we can see here, both of those parties have sealed their agreement, their government agreement, a reduction in working hours without a reduction in wages to 37.5 hours, and a rise in the minimum wage, so sealing their agreement with those two things. Pedro Sanchez and Yolanda Díaz have reached an agreement. Their teams have been working late into the night to shape and overcome the nuances that separated them, but there have been no surprises. The PSOE and Sumar already have their roadmap in case there is a legislature, because although the two partners have reached an agreement, the investiture is still in the hands of the Catalan pro-independence supporters if the amnesty is agreed with Junts and ERC. But the hypothetical coalition government can already display a socio-economic agenda that includes reducing working hours without reducing wages and regulating dismissal, as well as a new rise in the minimum wage, among other measures. And that was presented today. The two leaders of those political parties, Pedro Sanchez and Yolanda Díaz, came together and presented their plan for the future of Spain. And as we saw there, people will be working less, earning the same salary, and also that minimum salary to go up again. They also said that they're going to maintain the discounts when it comes to public transport and things like that, and a whole heap of other measures were put on the table, which we'll look at in coming days, no doubt. But still, they have to get the support of those Catalan independence parties, as we saw there, Junts, the Puigdemont party, and ERC, the Republican left of Catalonia. Mr. Sanchez was happy, and he believes his agreement with Sumar offers stability and progress. We're going to govern for 4 more years, he says. The acting Prime Minister and candidate for investiture, Pedro Sanchez, has assured that it is time to form a new progressive coalition government, and stressed that the programmatic agreement signed this Tuesday with Sumar is born with the will to offer stability, coexistence and progress to Spain for the next 4 years, and to continue along the path of the last legislature, taking new steps towards social and economic justice. We're going to be here for 4 more years, Sanchez added, convinced that the coalition government will be reinstated and his investiture will go ahead. So Mr. Sanchez having no doubts there when it comes to getting those Catalan independence groups on side, and saying that he'll be in power, or his government will be in power, with a Sumar coalition for the next 4 years. A progressive government, as Mr. Sanchez pointed out there. So we'll see what happens at the end of the month, or I think the deadline is the end of November, when this investiture has to be done, signed, sealed and delivered, as they say. Next piece of news here. Spain is more than just sun and sand. Non-tourist services underpin exports. Exports have been, along with the labour market, Spain's resilience to the economic earthquakes of the last 2 years. Now the sale of goods abroad is starting to slow down, but there is a stronghold in the Spanish economy that is holding up and has been growing steadily since 2008. Non-tourist services. Last year, exports of these services, which include consultancy, telecommunications and transport, among others, accounted for 16.4% of total revenue. From 5.1% of GDP in 2014, they accounted for 7.1% last year. This was even higher than tourism services. In the second quarter of the year, according to the Bank of Spain, they rose by 14.2% to over 46.6 billion euros and now account for 23.3% of total exports. So there we go. Spain is more than just sun and sand, apparently, according to the Bank of Spain. And it is true that there are other things that happen in this country, even though if you only went to a tourist resort here in Spain, you probably wouldn't realise that. But big cities, consultancy, telecommunications, transport, among other things. So not only sun and sand, the Bank of Spain would like us to tell that story. Another story here from the El Diario newspaper, and it is that the Spanish government has granted 50 million to the Canary Islands to deal with the arrival of migrants. On Tuesday, the Council of Ministers approved the granting of 50 million euros to the Canary Islands to deal with the arrival of migrants. The central government and the regional government will sign an agreement to channel this subsidy proposed by the Ministry of Inclusion, Social Security and Migration. The purpose of this subsidy will be to care for unaccompanied foreign minors, improve the possibilities of social and occupational integration of people who have been taken into care, and carry out actions in the countries of origin to prevent the departure of migrants in small boats and dinghies. And we've seen in the past couple of weeks just how many people have been making the journey from the African coast to the Canary Islands. I think the other day over 1,000 people landed in these dodgy boats and dinghies, as pointed out there. So 50 million euros being thrown at that problem, and also money going to the countries of origin to try to put people off taking the journey, and that is more difficult than it appears to be, as we know. So we'll see how this one plays out, and whether that migration influx into the Canaries continues. We'll see. And the final piece of news here, and it is that a gang that swindled over 3 million euros from 1,200 online banking customers is busted. The Guardia Civil has dismantled a criminal organisation with the arrest of 15 people who swindled more than 1,200 electronic banking customers in different Spanish provinces, and who managed to obtain more than 3 million euros. In the first phase of the operation, the agents arrested 9 people in the provinces of Toledo, Ciudad Real, Badajoz, Murcia and Valencia, while in the second phase they arrested another 6 in the province of Barcelona, including the ringleaders of the entire criminal network. The gang based its activities on the techniques known as SMF spoofing and caller ID spoofing, which consisted of customers receiving massive SMS messages with the criminals impersonating the bank as the sender. And I, for one, often get these fake SMS messages. They look kosher, as they say. They look reasonable, but apparently they lead to dodgy sites. And once they get your credentials, your username and your password, it is adios dinero. That is what happens. And as we saw there, how much was it? 3 million euros swindled from people around Spain. So watch out if you do get these messages. They don't have to be banking messages. They can be from the post office. That's a fairly common one. And also one that I got yesterday, I think I deleted it, but it said, your prize is ready. Click here. So I didn't click, but some people obviously do. First of the comments for today, this one from Ray. Support your local shops, usually better value and quality than the big supermarket. Also, it's nice to chat with the assistant and locals. Yes, I also agree with Ray here. Support your local shops if you can. But as we know, supermarkets have become the dominant player in the market in recent decades. When I first came to Spain, more people seemed to go to local markets, but they seem to be disappearing, at least where I am here. Some smaller shops have popped up, and they do offer a decent quality produce, and you can have a conversation, as Ray points out there, with the shopkeepers of those businesses. Whereas in the supermarket, you'll get zero reply a lot of the times. Depends, but a lot of the time people in supermarkets are not there for chit-chat, whereas smaller shops, maybe they are. Another comment here from Julian, but the current government had already applied amnesties to the Catalan separatists, and people with their vote have already expressed their opinion towards this. Why do they say this was not in the campaign? We saw this yesterday. The Partido Popular is saying that they want to go to new elections because what's happening with the Catalonian separatists, Mr. Puigdemont and company, not the 7 that were released from prison, I think in 2021, 2022, not sure exactly when, but there were 7 political prisoners, people that were in jail for that illegal referendum back in 2017. They were pardoned and are now back in the public eye again, or at least some of them are. Some of them might have gone underground, not sure. But what they want to do is give all of the people involved in that process, not sure on the exact amount, but if not in the only in the hundreds, perhaps in the thousands of people that are going to be included in this amnesty. Don't quote me on that figure. And Mr. Puigdemont being the number one beneficiary of that amnesty, meaning that all of the charges will be dropped. He'll be able to come back to Spain and live life as a free man, and no doubt still in politics. So we'll see. That's the difference. So the 7 pardons that were granted, but there's a lot more on the table, and also that future referendum which the Catalans are negotiating also. So we'll see what happens. As far as I know, the central government parties are saying no to a possible referendum, but you never know what will happen over time. So we'll see. Another comment here from Jed. What is your view on expat immigrant areas such as Camposol? To me, they seem soulless. Well, to be honest, I've never been to Camposol. I spoke to someone a few years ago who lives on Camposol. In fact, he has a YouTube channel. I'm sure you are aware of who I mean. And is life soulless on those estates? I've got no idea. They are very remote places. It seems to be very remote. If you have a look at Google Maps, you'll see that this Camposol seems to be basically in the middle of nowhere. I'm sure that there is a town close by. I think Matheron is not far away, but Camposol, it does seem to be quite an isolated place. Soulless, don't know. I'm sure people have built their own communities down there. It all depends on the amount of people coming and going. How many properties are turned over and what's the rate of the turnover of those properties. And I think people will always be attracted to a house in the sun because of the prices. And we can see here that you can pick up a chalet adosado in Calle Quesada 1254. Looks like an American address, 1254, for 61 grand. And we're looking at 80 square meters and 3 bedrooms. And that's not the only one there. You've got another one here, a detached house for sale in Matheron, also Camposol, 69,900, 52 square meters and 2 bedrooms. So that's what attracts people to these areas. Would I go and live there? Probably not, because I've been living in a Spanish city for a long time now. I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable in one of those areas. Would I go to somewhere on the coast? Yeah, but probably a city that has a little bit more life to it rather than one of these urbanizations, as they call them here, where the shops are quite a long way away. You probably have to take your car to get to most places. Don't know. But as I said, I've never been to Camposol. But anybody who is in Camposol or who has been to Camposol and knows Camposol, please leave your 20 pence or 20 cents worth. Another one here from Robert. Hi, Stuart. Years ago at karate grading, I drank one of these caffeinated drinks, energy drinks, and was hyper, I think that should be, not hipper, for the rest of the day. Maybe he was hipper, not sure, but hyper for the rest of the day, not sensibly. That's the issue with the energy drinks, and especially kids drinking them. Very high in caffeine. We saw yesterday the equivalent of 2 espresso coffees and the sugar that is in some of them as well. And one autonomous community here in Spain has said that they're going to ban them from 2024 onwards. And another 7 autonomous communities are studying something similar, putting a ban in place for youngsters who maybe shouldn't be drinking these things. Don't know. But as I said, when I was a kid and we were drinking full sugar Coke, no one was saying much back in the day. So I don't know. Maybe we should try to control these things in a different way. Maybe parents should say, perhaps not drink Monster, or perhaps not drink Yeti. Have a fruit juice or something instead. But that's also high in sugar. So don't know. Another one here. We saw that one. This one here from Keith. 8 or 9 euros in Spain or Portugal for a bottle of wine. I think that's definitely 12 to 15 GB pounds or more in the UK. Somebody said yesterday that a €6 bottle of wine here in Spain will set you back around £9 in the UK. and an 8 or 9 euro bottle here, according to Keith. It'll be around 12 to 15 on the shelf in a UK supermarket. So that's the difference, really, isn't it? So you're looking at about from 6 to 9, from 9 to 12. So you can see the difference there, and it seems to be I don't know whether you'd call it a decent markup, but a fairly hefty markup nonetheless. Another one here, we saw that one, I'm getting lost, from Tony. Hi Stu, love the videos. In regards to the bloke leaving a tip for the hotel cleaners, I would give it in hand, as I found hotel and albergue cleaners or hostel cleaners are so honest, they would hand it in. Maybe so. It's maybe not a good idea to leave it behind. Personally, put it in the hand of the cleaner. That could be an option there. Somebody said that maybe the low salaries, we should be looking after people that do clean hotels more. De-unionized, I think it was also mentioned. I haven't been able to say whether that's true or false, but I do know that low wages and that long hours are a problem. But as we saw before, Ms. Diaz and Mr. Sanchez have a reply to that, and it's a 37-hour working week, I think, or reducing that working week down to 37.5 hours. So we'll see if things improve across the board here in Spain as a result of that policy or promise. And the last one here from Joy. Hi, Stuart. Seawater is a bit warmer in the Rias in Galicia. Lately, our winters haven't been so wet, but definitely humid. Also possible to have a long, wet winter. We say if it's raining in the south, it's sunny here. Haha. Lit my fire today for the first time. Hotter outside than in the house, as usual. Thanks, Stuart. Joy, so coming in from Galicia. Somebody asked what the winter conditions were like in that part of Spain. Obviously can be wet. Joy saying there that recent years not as wet as it used to be. Definitely humid. But you never know what's around the corner with these changing weather patterns. So we could get a wet winter. You never know. Has been dry, as Joy points out there. And we haven't really had cold winters, or at least in this part of Spain. It hasn't been as cold as I remember it used to be. But again, you never know what's just around the corner. So we'll see. Now, we're going to go into the chat section in just a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to change the backdrop. This picture was sent through from Waldemar. It's a place called Miranda del Ebro, and apparently, according to Waldemar, it's a popular stopping place for people that are travelling maybe north to south. They stop off here, maybe have a bite to eat, maybe sleep overnight, don't know. Miranda del Ebro in Castilla y León, on one of the main roads coming down from the north to the south. That would be why people stop over, no doubt. Now, if you've got a similar picture that you would like to see on the backdrop, the email address is this one here, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Send them through to that, please. If you've got some information that you would like to send my way, whether it's related to real estate here in Spain or crime here in Spain or any article that you would like to bring to my attention, that's also the email address. And hit the like button now if you can also. We're up to 55 likes, so if you hit it now, you might be like number 55 or 56. So do us a favour, please, and hit the like button. Into the chat I go. Let's scroll up to the top, see what's going on here. Patrick coming in from a sunny but chilly Caspe. James and Kathy coming in from sunnier Worcester, where the river Severn is, I think that is, I can't see it there. Severn is full flood, about 5 metres or so above normal. Lucky our house is 70 metres above the river. Yes. Flooding, eh? Those rivers swell, don't they? And if you're on low ground, be careful. Barbara coming in from Playa Flamenca. Sunny today, temperatures around 24. I'll take that. Possibly 27 tomorrow, but nighttime temperatures have come down quite a lot. Yes, also here. Chilly at night. Chilly. Pauline coming in from Rojales, hoping we are well. Mornings and evenings a little cooler now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rory coming in from Palma in Mallorca. Hope that we are well. Thanks, Rory. Ross coming in from Valencia, 21 degrees there. Time out from the comedy in the US. Comedy? You mean the political show in the US turned into a comedy show, I think. Yes. John coming in from, I think back in the UK. John sent another photo through today. Thanks, John, for that. Richard coming in from the UK also. North Yorkshire, cold and damp there. When I think of Yorkshire, I think of cold and I think of damp, to be honest. 123 Shawnaway coming in from Ireland. Faith coming in from, don't know where, but saying buenas noches with an A. Hope you're well. Likes. Thanks, Faith, for that. Good to see you. Sani coming in, was in Spain, now back in Basingstoke. Looking forward to going back to Valencia on Boxing Day. So soon we'll be back. Tony coming in from a much cooler Gran Alicante. Down there in Alicante. 123 Shawnaway again here with another comment. That plan will ruin the economy. You can't put measures in place like those when you can't bring down unemployment. The focus should be on improving productivity. The government also has the idea of getting unemployment down to 4 or 5%. I think they're looking for full employment. That's the objective. Whether they achieve that, I don't know. I don't think anyone's done it. So if Mr. Sanchez can do it, he'll be a genius. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt at the moment, but we'll see how it plays out. Remember, he's got to get into government first before these measures can be put in place. And if he can't get the Catalans over the line, back to elections. So we'll see what happens then. But the time that we're in this caretaker government situation, not a lot gets done, unfortunately. I have a student who was working in the construction industry back in 2014, I think, 2015. And Spain, of course, didn't have a government for about a year. And he lost his job because all of the money for the contracts dried up. No government wasn't spending any money. And that's the situation that we're in at the moment since the 23rd of July. No government. Just a caretaker government that shows up every day and doesn't do much else, I don't think. D coming in from the Playa de Oliva. T. Ray coming in from, don't know where, very valuable insights. Thank you very much. Thanks, T. Ray. Kathy also coming in here from Spain, I think. Playa de Xeraco. Warm, windy, beautiful day. Mama was in the hospital. Medical system here is very different. Thank God she's okay. I hope you and your family are well. Hope your mother's okay, Kathy, too. No one likes to spend time in hospital, of course. El Conquistador, Pontevedra Beach, Florida, 26 degrees and sunny. Yes, always seems to be sunny in Florida, right? Except when those storms come through. Jose Antonio coming in from the Royal City, arrived a bit late today, no problem. I buy local in part to socialise with the neighbours. There we go. Socialisation event is buying fruit locally rather than going to the supermarket where you don't get much back from the staff sometimes. Not interested. But the fruit guy might be, or the fruit person that sells you fruit, the frutero or frutera, or the carnicero or carnicera. They might be friendlier. Or the pollero might be friendlier. James, our local supermarket in Cabo Roig, very friendly and will talk if you make an effort in Spanish, and the butcher will always help you out with the best meats to choose from. But yeah, probably one of those supermarkets where they might have a fruit person and a fish person and a meat person. You might get some contact, but the places that like Mercadona where everything's in plastic, you're not getting a lot from the butcher there in Mercadona. John, back in the UK, thought that was the case in the early hours of the morning. Thanks for the content. No, well, you're welcome, John. Good to see you. Realistically, how much Spanish competency does an expat need on arrival to Spain? Are there language schools for native English speakers? Yeah, well, it depends. If you live in Campo Sol, you probably don't need any Spanish competency because a lot of businesses there. I mean, I went onto Google Maps and there was a place called Kev's Disco or somewhere. So obviously that's an English-speaking business. And there's probably other businesses that are run by foreigners down there where you don't need to know much Spanish at all. But if you want to integrate into one of the medium-sized cities or any other city or town in Spain that is not with a big foreign population, you probably have to have, I would say intermediate. That's just me. You can have more, fantastic. A little bit less, don't worry. But just that basic conversational Spanish to be able to get by, to be able to buy things, to be able to feel confident when you go out in the street, not nervous. Language schools for native? Yeah, of course. There's language schools all around the country where you can learn the language. Campo Sol is un secaral. That's why the prices are low. Secaral, I think, in this sense means that it's just a dry, desolate place. And in the middle of the Murcia desert. Campo Sol. What else? Let's have a look here. Bottle of Sangre de Toro in Spain, I priced at $3.99. Same bottle in Ireland costs between 10 and 13. 75% is tax. So that's also an issue, isn't it? In English-speaking countries, they love to tax alcohol. Australia, unbelievable, the tax on alcohol and cigarettes. If you tell a Spanish person what a packet of cigarettes costs in Australia, they won't believe you. They'll just think that you're a liar. You tell them that it costs $50 for a packet of cigarettes, they'll say, nah, that's impossible. What are you lying for? And the fact of the matter is that it's about that, what a packet of cigarettes costs. 50 Australian dollars. It was 40 the last time I was there, and I think it was progressively going up. And like I said, people just won't believe you. If you tell a person that you pay 15 Australian dollars for a pint of beer, they won't believe you. It just doesn't enter their way of thinking. Especially when you can buy a packet of smokes here for €5 and a pint of beer for $2.50. And they can't believe it. What else? Flutter Girl saying that my tip to hotel staff has changed from cash to practical items, small bottles of Canadian maple syrup or nail polish. I think they appreciate those things as well. I mean, even if you go to a supermarket and you buy some fruit or something like that and you give it to the person that's cleaning if you haven't eaten it rather than throwing it in the rubbish, they'll appreciate that also, and other things maybe that you buy. Nicolas paid $18 for a bottle of Albarino here in Los Angeles, probably €4 in Spain. Probably. Albarino, a little bit more expensive, that wine. Maybe in Galicia it's cheaper, but here in Madrid, around $6, I think you pay for a decent Albarino. A good one, a lot more. T-Ray from the Netherlands, nasty weather, thinking about moving to Spain someday. Great, valuable channel. Muchas gracias. Well, you're welcome. Gold Geologist also coming in here. Let me get this one on the screen. Heading to Madrid on the 30th of October for a couple of weeks. I hope it all goes well here for you in the capital of Spain. Super chat from James, £1.99. Thank you very much, guys, for that. Appreciate it. Alan saying energy drinks, ? Exclamation mark, ? Exclamation mark. You should take a look at the Buckfast in Scotland, also known as electric soup, and erect the house, I think that is juice. It's like Monster with much more caffeine and alcohol and tons of sugar too. Yeah, the energy drinks have really taken off. I'm not familiar with the one that you're talking about there, Alan, but I've seen that there's a couple of these internet influencers with their own drinks nowadays. British guy and an American guy. I won't mention their names, but they're all over the internet. They've got an energy drink out at the moment. They promote it every time they can. That's the idea, isn't it? Got a product, try and flog it. Andrew, River Severn, pronounced like the number 7. River 7. There we go. Tricky pronunciation again. Thanks for pointing that out. Gail coming in from Reliegos near Leon. Enjoying listening to you. Wet day but dry now. Thanks, Gail, for tuning in. Got a long comment here from Rosa. We'll have a look at it. I'll see if I can get through it. It's quite small on my screen. If I can make it a bit bigger. No, I can't. About 14 years or so ago, we looked at buying property in Murcia. The estate agents were very disparaging about Campo Sol and an estate on the golf course. We were led to believe that these areas were built without the proper permission, as they did not have a proper electrical supply, water, and no council refuse collection. We were going to buy a property in Isla Plana just outside Matharon, but we were gazumped. Very lucky, because then the crash in 2008 happened. Yeah, there's lots of stories about Campo Sol. You just have to go onto the internet to see. I believe the situation has improved over the years. The locals have made a they've made something of the place, but it did have its issues. And there were court cases around it as well. It was the typical story of somebody who had land down there, wanted to turn it into a big real estate project. There was another one in Murcia as well. I can't remember what it was called, Polaris World or something. And it was advertised on the television here in the middle of the desert. Nobody was asking where they were getting the water from. Nobody was asking any questions. It was speculation, pure and simple. And the Campo Sol, part of the Campo Sol, I believe, was just done by dodgy developers. Again, today I can't comment, and I'm sure somebody will, correct us if we're wrong, but it was a problem. Pollera is a skirt in Argentina. Yeah. Concha is also something interesting down there as well too, right? What else we got going on? Donald coming in here. Coalition governments seem to be the norm in many countries now. Sometimes it might seem to be better than a one-party government, but it can also lead to smaller parties having disproportionate power. That's what we've got here, right? These little small Catalonian independence groups with disproportionate power for the rest of the country. But what can we do? What can we do? Ross saying here that our Mercadona has workers at the meat, fish departments and others around. They talk. There we go. My local Mercadona, all the meat is in packages. There's no butcher. There's a person cutting ham, Spanish ham. They've got 3 people cutting ham non-stop. There is a fishmonger, but no butcher. What else? Let's have a look here. Gail saying that in our village we smile a lot when trying to speak the lingo, and my husband is known as the international mime artist. There we go. But always a good idea to make an effort. Absolutely. And that's the most important thing. And people will appreciate that. The majority. Some people won't. The majority will. What else we got going on here? Here in Caspia, we go from summer to winter. What about Madrid? Yeah, it's the same in lots of Spain. You just go straight from summer into winter. There's no autumn. The leaves do fall off the trees, but it gets cold. Roland coming in from Minneapolis. Arnard coming in from Castel del Fels. A wee bit cloudy, but warmer from the cold grey England that he just came from. Yeah, there we go. Jason, been a while, coming in from Wolverhampton, but catching the live stream again. That's great, Jason. Good to see you. Joe, let's have a look. Patrick, and don't forget the transport cost of the wine. We also have to keep that in mind as well. And concha is beaver. The English slang for beaver, not the animal. Thanks, Jose Antonio, for pointing that out. Now, that's the end of the live chat. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. I'll be back again on Thursday. Video most likely coming out tomorrow, if I can get it finished in time. But live stream on Thursday, so hopefully I'll see you guys then. Hasta luego, hasta entonces, adiós, buenas noches.